to another episode. What's going on, Cass?
We're driving in Utah. We just left California. Yesterday we drove through California,
Arizona, Nevada, Utah.
In one day.
So we are headed to a house concert in Salt Lake City area, and we took our first West Coast tour. This is our first West Coast tour. So we were in California for the last several weeks. And honestly, it was really great. We had a great time, great shows, great tacos in LA.
We need to do an episode on just where we talk about how much we love California.
Yeah, it was great. The best part literally was the taco stands on the side of the road in LA. You just can't beat that. That's the best taco I've ever had.
Yeah.
I would say.
$3.
We stayed in a parking lot in this van where a taco stand was set up
in a Planet
right
Fitness
across the parking lot, and it was one of the best. We just come home at night and have a taco. There was a crepe guy that was next to them.
Wesley's Crepes.
Yeah, so great time.
Shout out to Planet Fitness, man. That was our home for like a week in LA.
Yes, thank you. So this episode we're going to be deconstructing one of our songs. Which song is it, Cass?
Well, ironically, today is the 3-year anniversary of my mom, Deborah Miller, passing away. And this song was actually written about and for my mom one of the last times that she was in the hospital. So about a little over 3 years ago. And we wrote this song for her, and I wanted her to hear this song. I didn't want to wait till she was gone, and so I wanted her to know how I felt about her through song. And so this is my mama's song.
And we also had the honor of winning the 2022 Rocky Mountain Songwriting Contest with this song. So I think it speaks to a lot of people.
It speaks to a lot of people. Every show, last night, people always come up to me afterwards and talk about their mom.
It was Saturday at the Conoco. You were in the back, cutting checks for payroll. I was counting up some play money and pretending I was answering your phone. We locked it up for the night, said you wouldn't be back till Monday morning light. And on the way you let me steer while I was on the passenger side.
I really just wanted to describe this moment that I remember as a little girl. I remember my mom always worked in gas stations, and she was the manager of a Conoco for, my gosh, I can't even remember how many years. I don't know, 20 years or so. And I remember on Saturdays, I would go to work with her because she just had to go and count the money. And so I would go with her. And I remember we would go in the back in her office, and I would sit in her chair, and I would make play money because she would just go and do the deposit. And so I would act like I was counting the money, and I'd answer her phone and just pretend to be her, you know? And it's weird, it's 3 years and it's still fresh. But I just remember sitting there at her desk, just trying to act like her and be like her. And we lived like in the country in Somerville, Alabama, so we lived like, it was a 35-minute drive home. And so I just vividly remember, like, my mom and dad always had, my dad restored muscle cars, and so my mom always had some kind of amazing car. And I can remember sitting in the passenger seat, and she would always just let me drive from over there. And it was just like, I wanted to paint this picture in the first verse to just really show people, to put people exactly where I was at. And so I'll never forget those moments, going to work with her on Saturdays, acting like I was her, and getting to spend that precious time with her.
And how old were you about
she worked there for years, and so yeah.
Your dad built
So my
gas
dad,
station for your mom.
yeah.
Right?
So my dad was he owned D&M, and he named it that, Deborah and Marshall, maintenance and construction, and so he put in like gas pumps, and like he did, he would literally install like gas pumps and concrete underneath the concrete and all that stuff, and putting in all the stuff for gas stations. Well, when Conoco got sold, my mom lost her job and everyone was let go because another company from another country came in and bought the store, and so they owned it. And so my dad built my mom a gas station right down the hill from our house that he built us to, and it was called Pines. I think it was called, it was called Miller's, because our last name was Miller. And so he literally built my mom a store, and I worked in it my senior year because he just wanted her to still have a gas station and work at it, which is crazy, isn't it? Who does that? But he did, and it was pretty sweet. And me and all my friends would hang out there, and we would eat all the food for free.
The sound of your screen door closing brings me back to a table overflowing with large elbow mac and cheese, southern boiled pinto beans, all the pots and pans just to soak in. You turned and asked me what I think. Did I maybe want some unsweet tea to drink? You fill my glass up to the top, and I'd go and grab the lemon by the same.
So I remember, when Cassie and I got married, we moved into her house that she already owned in Antioch, Tennessee, a suburb of Nashville. And this is the setting of this verse, where this table is full of southern foods that I had no experience with because I was from Iowa. And I remember the mac and cheese. In fact, the mac and cheese was the best thing that your mom made, in my opinion.
It was your favorite.
But yeah, this verse brings back a lot of those memories in that household. What's it bring back for you?
I mean, my mom has always cooked. We always joke and say my mom cooks for an army. Like, she can't just cook for 2 people, no matter if it really is 2 people. So she would just have all this food, and she didn't have a dishwasher, and we even tried to put a dishwasher in for her, but she didn't want to take away the space that she had for all of her pots and pans and all the things that she had. So she said she'd rather clean it by hand, and I can just still see, like, after she's cooked all this food, she would just soak all the dishes, because she had just had so many dirty dishes from all the cooking, and they would be soaking.
I remember all that, yeah.
And then she'd wash them all by hand, but they would just soak while we were eating. And I just always remember too that she would do all this work to cook, and then she wouldn't be hungry. And she's like, well, I'm not hungry. And so she sit there and cooked all day, and she's hot and tired, and then she just wants us to eat, and she's just serving us, because that was her love language, was cooking for others and serving others. And I always laugh when I think about every time we would leave to go home, she would always get her finest Tupperware, which was the Cool Whip jars and the buttermilk, the butter containers, and she would just fill them to the brim. And she always wanted to send a lot of food home because she wanted to make sure that Ben was eating good, because she knows that I don't cook. And so she would always just...
Yep. It's good stuff.
And all the things I do, they remind me of you. All the best parts
because you grow up, and when you're little, like, your mom's your hero, your best friend, and then as you get a little bit older, you kind of try to get away from your parents because you're like, I want independence and all this stuff. And then as I got older, then you want to be near them and closer to them again. And I see so many of the things that she would do in myself now, and it's funny how that happens, how you slowly begin to turn into them. And I think just the most powerful lyric that we've ever written for me is the hook of this song, because all the best parts of me are my favorite parts of my mom, and I get my good characteristics, and I get my good parts from her, and I'm really grateful for that because I am an extension of her. I didn't mean to cry this whole episode. But I love this song, and I can't believe it's been 3 years. But what I love most about this song is that we wrote it while she was alive, and that she got to hear it, and she loved this song. And we are an extension of our parents, and I'm so glad that she lives on through me. And we've been made this really beautiful music video to this song. It's a video that I will always cherish because it has her in it, and it just has all these beautiful moments. So that's the story behind the song My Favorite Parts of You.
Thanks for joining us, y'all. We'll see you next week.
And I won't be crying.